Okay, welcome to episode 5 of the Happy Little Boards show. It's exciting to get back to it. I mean, it's only 2 weeks in between, and roughly my recording schedule has been the same, but it feels like a month sometimes. But that's good. That's because I've been busy doing good stuff. So with that said, a few points of interest real quick here in the intro. For one thing, I just got this new little synth. It's the Korg Volca FM2. It's the second version of it. So I've been I've been kind of trying to find something that like suits this and is small and affordable. And as much as this can be like super nerdy, it also is like fun to play with, just like even if you don't touch any of the knobs and stuff. So I've literally played with it for maybe 20 minutes total. I did watch a few videos on it. But it's super cool. It's like battery powered. It's tiny. It's tiny. Fit like in a backpack. Practically fit in a pocket if you're wearing the jeans from the 90s. So we're going to use that for this today. The part that I'm super excited about, you can basically start from scratch and like craft your own sounds. So I'm going to make my own Happy Little Boards presets for this thing. It's under $200. It's perfect for this. Like I said, it's as nerdy as you want it to be, but it's also super simple. It's very easy to use. Again, like, yes, there is a digital menu, but it's really just showing you numbers. But like, there's so many like dials to turn to like change the sound, which is what I love. So super excited to try this today. I did search through some of the presets that come with it, and I saved them so I can use them for today. I pre-selected some that I thought were super cool. We have, I guess, 2, maybe 3 new ones to the game here on the pedal board. We have the Walrus Audio Slow at the beginning, which that's like my desert island pedal. Like, make me choose one to take with me if the house is on fire. It would be that one. Next, we got the Walrus Audio Fundamental Series Reverb. If you didn't catch it, I did a demo on their fundamental ambient pedal, which I think I've had on for 2 or 3 episodes, which is super awesome. This one is a little more straightforward in the reverb sense, but still super cool. And then next is the Old Blood Noise Endeavors Reverb. Similar, it's the same series as that reverse pedal they have. It's got that same cool clock slider that, you know, gets that cool sound. After that, we have the Earthquaker Devices Ledges. Just a cool reverb. It's got a room, a hull, and a plate setting. It's similar to the Walrus Reverb. That's the pedal board. You got our synth. Lastly, on the website side of things, I think as of recording this, I am days away from having at least the simple form of the simplest version of the website up for Happy Little Boards. So what that'll look like is just a quick landing page with a warning that I am going to be updating it very frequently in the near future, and just asking people to sign up for the newsletter mailing list so I can give you guys updates. Working towards a store on there where I can sell you guys these pedals and my pedal boards. I've been slowly constructing more of these pedal boards, again, to put up for sale if anybody is interested. Just stay tuned for that. Stay here on YouTube, check me out on social media, and you'll find all the updates there. And yeah, lastly, but of course not leastly, if you do me the huge favor and hit the subscribe button, Again, it's just like, I'm sure you hear it in every YouTube video you watch, but that's a very, very helpful thing to support this channel. I'm excited to continue doing this and get better and better and better at this. I feel like it's gotten better every time. Speaking of that, I remembered to turn the cool background lights on this time. But yeah, so if you can just hit the subscribe button, maybe throw me a like or a comment, let me know how you feel about what I'm doing. I'm always looking for feedback. Again, you know, make this better and better for me and for you. So yeah, with that all said and all the housekeeping out of the way, let's get to making a loop. And I almost forgot. After we make the loop, you know, I always like to have a little chat about life stuff. And today, the theme, if you noticed in the title, is suffering is a good thing. It's not a negative thing, it's a positive thing. I just kind of made it sound dramatic to, you know, get you to click on the video. I'm not gonna lie. I love coming up with clever titles for stuff. So yes, let's shut the old mouth and dive into making a loop here. I'm pretty sure I got all my volume levels and everything set to go. So let's see. I'm going to pick one of the presets here. What's this one? I'm into that. I don't know, there's tons of great videos out there. If you're interested in learning more about this synth, I will not waste your time trying to explain it because there are so many people that have done a fantastic job. First, we're going to start by making a little underlying canvas, you know, background layer. And for that, I'm going to use my favorite, the Walrus Slow, because of the sustain button it has on it. So I like this sound. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this on. It's kind of like a wobbly, like lo-fi. But the cool part is if I hit, like I like that. So let's let that fade. So when you push the sustain button, it captures it. It keeps it going. And then you can still play things over it. The mix knob is like a volume control. There's this filter knob that just, you know, takes away some of the tone, like you miss that. You can hear the electronic kind of that like wind noise if you turn it up all the way. So I'm gonna set this there, and I think I'm gonna turn on this one too. It's a little extra. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna use this as a volume. I turned off the feedback in the mix so I can use this as like a volume. Super cool. So I'm just gonna hit record and I'm gonna pluck around and just sprinkle in some notes very separately. Settle in, take a few breaths, hit a few notes, and we're gonna get the bass layer going here. Alright, we're recording. Wind sound. variation just for texture. There's one thing that's cool about this, is kind of like the longer you hold some of these, you get more swell and the variation in the tone. Not necessarily the case with the other keyboards I've used, so kind of adds like a pressure sensitive, like holding element. Beautiful, there's our base layer. Okay, what's next? Let's see, I'm just gonna pick. What's this one? You can also switch the, there we go, the octave of it, like it's like having switching to further down on the keyboard with this slider. Again, super awesome. So this layer, let's do the Old Blood. By the way, we will get to turning on all four, and I think we can get this kind of cool like digital wind sound, because it all the build up of like that nice electronic noise kind of like turns into this wispy digital wind that's super cool. So let's get that on the plate. I don't know, I'm picking a random setting there and I'm gonna mess with this. So okay, we can bring that volume. Oh yeah, there's that clock slider. All right, so we don't want to get too crazy with that. It's very bassy. I'm gonna turn the length there. You know what? I wonder if I just turn the decay down but turn the tone up on this one and bring it in. Yeah. It brings in a little more. Actually, let's turn it to the spring. Brings in a little more like clarity to it. Let's hit record and sprinkle. Oh, down there, yeah, it's very cool. It's like it's almost like a drum. Like a little tone to it. Oh, getting some added texture. The heat's turning on because it's cold out, and you can hear the rattle of the pipes in the wall. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get tired of this little guy. that's cool with this is just because of one of the features, there's numbers across this for the white keys. So again, if you don't know anything about music stuff, which you don't have to, of course, you can also think of it as like, oh, I did 6 and 7 and 11. Oop. And just like that, we're back to where we started for that layer. Beautiful. Okay, so I feel like we need some swells. So there's a mode on this called Rise, which if you crank the mix all the way, and this, it's called the X knob, it controls like the amount of, or how long it takes for the swell to come in. So what'll happen is when we hit something, the reverb will come in like the volume swell. So we're gonna turn this one onto the Walrus reverb onto the plate mode, and I'm just gonna set it all roughly in the middle. Again, like with the 4 reverbs, you can get too much in a good way, but too much quickly. So again, we can take advantage of the old blood as a volume. And I gotta pick the all off, no, all off. Let's pick a new preset here. What's this one? Okay, that is cool. Now let's see how it works with the swell. Perfect. Now see the I'm gonna turn the decay down. Now listen to the difference here. It's like techno, fast stuff. And just with this, adding this pedal, we instantly have dreamy, synthy glory. So yeah, let's leave that. This other stuff, it adds like a effect to the trails that you can change. Again, I don't need to worry about that. I'm just enjoying the sounds. So let's see what happens when we add this reverb. All right, let's get more mix and decay in there. What's full mix sound like? Sounds like good to me. Okay, so just for the fun, let's try adding a little bit of this. Oh, come on. Alright, this will be the layer with all of them on. I'm gonna leave this at a moderate setting. A little extra flavor at the end. Alright, I gotta remember to play with the clock this time. But not too crazy. Do it nice and soft and smooth. Ready to record. Layer 3 coming at you. And I'm gonna do the like 2 notes at once. Yeah, like that. So I'm just picking like a little range and sliding back and forth. And then it adds reverb to that from this one afterwards. Oh man, that clock is so much fun. It's just such a different like element that you can put in these loops, and it's just fun to use. Almost like a string thing. Static clicks. Can't escape the static in the winter. Oh, there we go. Layer 3 complete. Make sure you guys can hear this. Okay, so let's turn these off. Let's find another preset here. What's this one? If we go up, whoa, heyo, that's aggressive. But if we let's do the dream setting. I'm gonna turn the filter down and turn the decay and the mix full blast. Yeah, let's just see what that does to this. So I think I'm messing with it's called velocity, and like it's like the aggressiveness, I guess. So that is wonderful on its own, but I feel like we need some lo-fi goodness here. I'm gonna leave the clock alone this time. I'm gonna turn up the mix and the feedback, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, sit in that spot. That's good. Kind of like I said, it's good to move around to different sections to get different stuff that's higher, softer, lower, and just combine all these wonderful textures together. Yeah, can you tell I'm paranoid that the camera's gonna turn off? So do we, I guess we don't have to turn another one on, but we could. It wouldn't like hurt anyone, I don't think. I'll just keep it like subtle. Come on, that's beautiful. That's perfect. So now this one, very minimal, because we've already got a lot of stuff going on. I'm going to keep this nice and relaxing. So I'm going to enjoy what I'm listening to, breathe, and just every now and then drop a number in there, drop a note. things you can do in general, but also to help yourself just settle for a second. I think I've found the perfect match of synth for the happy little board. I'm in heaven now with these sounds. Attention and see if I'm hearing what we already have done so far. Oh, yeah, that's the new noise. Alright, that seemed fast. We're back at the beginning, which means layer 4 complete. Now, let's see if add some just digital wind. So I'm gonna turn the mix on all of these full blast. I'm gonna switch both of these to the plate setting. I guess I'll keep that on that setting. The plate, do feedback. That's kind of a funky note in there. I like it. Brought my focus back in. So let's see if we just turn these all on. Oh, actually, you know what? I need to switch that to the dream one so we can sustain. So let's see. Let's get. What was that? Okay, so let's try making that lower. Okay, so I'm just tapping this note. I'm hitting that sustain thing. Clock's catching something. So this is almost like adding like the vinyl crackle. And now I'm just gonna mess with this filter knob and this volume knob. windy, almost like the ocean, white noise. Kind of like the sound of the waves. Okay. So now, click that off. I almost forgot to turn it off. Let's just see for fun. Little background bell sound. I'm gonna sprinkle a couple of those in there. And just for the sake of using it, turn on that room mode on this guy, the ledges. You might not even be able to hear this. Oh, this was a good one. Definitely needed this. Actually, when I set this up just to check it, I ended up sitting and having a private session doing this because I don't do it as often anymore because I've been busy. But it's important for me to practice. What I'm telling you is a good thing. I found it very relaxing. I believe I heard where I started with this. And you don't have to go, that's another thing, I don't know if I've said this, but you don't have to go all the way to the end of the loop. If there's parts that have some noises and parts that don't, it does not matter. It might actually make it more interesting to listen to, because that's the important thing, is for it to be something interesting to grab your attention, to listen to, that's also pleasing, and which is also why, like tonight, once I transfer this to the computer to share with you guys, I will listen to it at night to make sure it's okay, and I'll probably fall asleep within a minute of listening to it. But yes, let's call that, I think that is a beautiful, beautiful loop. Very successful session. Alright, so we've made our loop, and now I just want to talk about why I titled this episode Suffering is a Good Thing. So when I say suffering, I know, especially in the English language, that is a heavy word and has a very negative connotation to it. But let me explain. The way I'm referring to suffering here is in the more Buddhist philosophy sense of the word, where I feel like you have when you have internal happiness and you feel purpose and you feel motivation and wholeness and joy with your life, the word suffering to me is the lack of that, in that philosophical, spiritual sense of the word. So when I say suffering is a good thing, I kind of go back to the age-old question, well, what's the point of suffering if things could just be good? Things could just be happy all the time. And the way I have come to think of it, and through my experience, because I feel, especially with hindsight looking back, I have experienced a lot of that suffering where it's almost like a compass. Like if magnetic north is like, I was born this unique person and there is a specific groove in the universe that I fit into, because each one of us is unique in our own way. So our own path, trajectory, direction, it all is unique and it all fits together in a certain way. And if that's north on the compass, when you're experiencing suffering or you feel unfulfilled, unhappy, even it can be anxiety and tiredness and just a feeling of offness or a feeling of what's the point? Just at the end of the day when you sit and you're like, oh, what am I doing here? You know, I'm sure just about everyone has experienced some range of that feeling. So for me, you would not be able to know which direction is north on the compass if there weren't other directions to go in, as in that pull, that magnetic pull to north that a compass has. It only makes sense and tells you that there's this one direction if there's a pull when you go away from that one direction. Otherwise, there would be no indication on which way is the way to go. I also think of it as if you were put into a large space and you could not see, and all you could use were your other senses, and you needed to get to something that is far off on the other side of this space you're in. If it is an empty space and you are just left to wander this empty space to try to find this certain thing on the other side, it would be very difficult to find that space. You might find it right away and get lucky. You might never find it. You could just be wandering around this empty space forever and never get to the goal at the other end. So if you're in this big space and you need to get to the other goal, but now there's this maze with walls that you have to navigate through, you're going to start walking. You can't see, but you're going to start feeling things and bumping into things, and you may feel a direction that you think you can go in, but it turns out to be a dead end. But that lets you know to turn around and head the other direction. And the walls keep you from drifting away and wandering around in the open space. It gives you a sense of where you're headed. And sure, it still might take a while to get there. You could get lucky and pick the right path the first try and never touch a wall. Who knows? Most of us would bump into a wall here and there, hit a dead end here and there. The point is, without those walls, it would be almost impossible to find your direction and get to the goal at the end that you're supposed to get to. So if we're thinking in terms of suffering, that's the walls. And the path you're on, trying to get to that end, is whatever makes your individual soul, heart, spirit happy. And it's different for everyone else. But without the negative feedback of the maze or the pull from the compass to let you know that you're going the wrong way, then you wouldn't know you're going the right way. And to me, that's the point of suffering, is it lets you know, it's an indicator, arguably more important than the actual goal itself, is to know through these feelings of negative feedback that you're on the right path. And when you're walking on that right path, that's when you feel motivation and purpose. That's your sense of purpose. Now, with that said, you may say to me, yeah, but my purpose that I'm feeling inside, the thing, that dream in the back of my head, that thing I want to pursue, isn't practical in my life. And I experience that quite a bit, especially being a creative person. I feel like artists are probably gonna feel what I'm saying more than anyone else, because the way the world's constructed, especially now in 2025, it's less and less of a pursuable path. As in, there's a lot of things holding you back from being able to easily move forward with that purpose, because it's harder and harder to make a living and survive, and it's not practical to be, say, a creative person. There's also so many other factors that go into whether or not you are free to pursue what makes you happy inside and what your unique north is. But I want you to remember that that doesn't mean it's not the right thing to lead to your joy and happiness and sense of purpose and fulfillment. It just means that the world isn't set up the right way to allow people to find that. And I think there's a lot of things that lead to, it's like dead ends that are tricks that you think you got to your purpose, but it turns out it was just a dead end, and you eventually are gonna realize that it was a dead end, and then you feel a lack of purpose and fulfillment. So to me personally, I would say somebody that thinks getting X amount of material things or money in my bank account is going to lead to this feeling of fulfillment. And I've listened to enough podcasts and read enough books to know that there's thousands upon thousands of people out there that have become successful. The fame's another good one. And they will tell you, I've heard the stories, they will tell you, I thought that was going to solve all my problems. I just needed this level of fame, or this, hit record, or this X amount of money in my bank account, or blah, 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 whatever material goal. And turns out my problems were still there. And it turns out I just didn't know what it was that really brought me happiness. And I've experienced that through trying various things and thinking things were right for me and going in directions, and I somehow always had my heart pulling me back to certain aspects of my life. And whether or not I was happy that that was the case, it was almost like I could not avoid but having it shoved right in my face that this is what is gonna fulfill you, or this is what your purpose is. And I can give you an example right now that I didn't know it would be in this form, but saying what I'm saying to you right now into a camera to put on the internet for public consumption, for anyone to hear me say these words, is definitely something that I don't like to admit that I have felt like I needed to do, because I guess I have found that I have a talent in some way, shape, or form for taking a perspective on the universe and the world and life and happiness and things like this, where it's almost like a creative wisdom that I've kind of had in me. I even remember little bits of this as a teenager. I remember thinking that in my head when I was, so for example, when I was in bands and pursuing music and thinking maybe it would be like I'm on stage in front of 1,000 people talking into a microphone. I have a chance to say something. In my daydreams, in my shower thoughts, it was always me saying stuff like this. So it didn't end up being what I thought it would be, but I finally gave in, and I'm sitting here saying that out loud and doing what is still slightly uncomfortable, but it just feels right. And I think it took me till I was 42 to have the courage and the don't give a shit attitude to just put it out there and see what happens, because holding it in, especially for this long, doesn't seem to be doing me any good. So I'm gonna do this. So I don't expect that anything that I'm doing is going to be what makes sense for you, but I hope that maybe hearing me talk about this is something that will trigger you to go, oh, I know what my thing is. And then, I don't know, maybe the first step is just letting that thought enter your head, giving it permission to live there and be a real thing. Because if it feels right, if it feels good, if it's from a place of love, which I feel like somehow most people's dreams and purpose, if it's real, if it's the real north on the compass, tends to always come from a place of love and connection with other people. Whatever that is, let it live. And yeah, maybe I'm not gonna be able to pay my bills by saying this stuff out loud, but if I can connect that with making YouTube videos and sharing what I do here and doing the work that goes into making this all happen, that is something that can eventually pay the bills. So I think that I'm sharing this now because maybe I have finally found a way to, I guess that's the trick, is trying to figure out a creative way to be able to be walking towards the end of the maze or towards north within the confines of the system we all live in, because that's outside of our control. We can make small changes to that, but I could have been born feeling this way 1,000 years ago, and then who knows what, I probably would have been considered insane. Or could be someone in the future and that world is set up in a way that doesn't make sense for them to think and say the things they're saying, but that doesn't make them not north and not a good thing. So I will end with that. That was a lot, but it's episode 5. Why not? Also, if you've made it this far, thank you very much. Please drop a like or a comment if you like what I'm saying. In order to progress things like constructing more pedal boards and setting up my website and doing a few things with the setup here to improve this show, I'm gonna skip when the next episode should be and make it 3 or 4 weeks until the next episode. So maybe consider this season 1. But just if you made it this far, I'll let you know that. And as always, the loop you're hearing now that we made today, I've started uploading. I've uploaded them all, so this will be the 5th one. So there's 5 tracks on my SoundCloud. There will be a link in the description, so you can go stream all the loops that have been created in all the episodes of this show. As soon as the episode airs, it will be available, so you can create your own little sleep playlist and listen to this stuff. As always, I'll warn you, please don't listen to this while you're operating heavy machinery. It may result in you sleeping. All right, I'll end it on that funny note and say thank you again. I'm going to take my few breaths here at the end and conclude episode 5 of the Happy Little Board Show. Again, I've said it 100 times, but thank you all for being the audience and letting me pursue my north. So I'll talk to you soon. See you next episode. See you on all the things. Stay tuned for updates. Peace, love, rock and roll. Deep breaths.